everybody. Welcome back to World History. We're doing section 3 today, so let's go ahead and get our notes out and get started. All right, so we're going to move my bubble probably. Up here is probably going to be our best choice if I can get it to go where I want it to go. Ay. No, hold on. Let's try this again. Well, that's probably as good as it's going to get. We'll just put it over here. You'll just have to get the titles when you actually see the slides in class. Portugal is going to be the first European power to gain a foothold in Asia. After Vasco da Gama's voyage, the Portuguese move into the Indian Ocean. During this time, the Mughal dynasty was controlling much of India. This was established by Muslim rulers, originally from Central Asia. Eventually, in southern India, Portugal is going to be able to seize lands from the princes, and with this, they take over the Indian Ocean. Trading outpost in 1510, they're going to turn the island of Goa into its military and commercial base, led by Commander Alfonso de Albuquerque. They'll take over Malacca in 1511 and use these ports to trade and repair ships. Now, this has a limited impact. They lacked resources and faced resistance inland. They did make harsh efforts to convert the Muslims, but fewer than 1 million people actually converted from Islam. So let's talk about the Dutch. In 1599, the Dutch fleet is going to get involved, and they return home after a year. They brought pepper, cloves, and other spices with them, and this led to more exploration because of their strong foothold in Cape Town. So in 1602, they'll establish the Dutch East India Company. They'll have tremendous power, and explorations were tightly controlled by the government, but the East India Company had full sovereign powers, meaning they made decisions for themselves. They built armies, they waged war, and they governed overseas territories to dominate trade in the region. By 1641, they take Malacca from Portugal. They open up trade with China, and this allowed them a monopoly in the Spice Islands. They're going to use military force to achieve their goals, but by the 1700s, their power declines due to the growing power of England and France. And talking about the Philippines, in 1521, Magellan again claimed the Philippines for Spain. Within 50 years, Spain had captured and colonized the islands. The Filipinos were not united and as such were easily conquered. The Philippines became a key link in Spain's overseas trading empire. They could now trade between lands in Mexico and China, and silver from Mexico would be used to buy goods in China. Now, Mughal India was the center for spice trading, and it was larger and richer than any country in Europe. They were the leading exporter of all textiles as well, mainly silk and cotton. All the Europeans eventually gained trading rights here. They were permitted to build forts and warehouses in Indian coastal towns. But this is going to change when civil wars start to drain their resources there. The Dutch, the British, and French will all establish Indian trading companies. Each company will organize its own army of sepoys or Indian troops. And by the mid-1700s, the British and the French had become locked in a bitter struggle for global power. So the British East India Company will use their troops to drive out the French from India and take India for the English. It's crazy times in the age of discovery. So that's it for notes. Honors kids, your project is due at the end of class today. Make sure you get that done. I'll see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.